And just like that, we are back for another episode of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. This time we're on episode 40. A quick recap on the last episode, we had Scar and Winry come up with a plan to go over towards Briggs, leaving Ed and Al behind. But the problem is that Kimberly has now taken over Briggs because Olivier Armstrong has been sent back to the capital. So now Winry and Scar are headed straight to Kimberly, which is obviously not a good thing. We also had that scene near the end of the episode with Al. Al is re-entering his existential crisis. It seems that maybe his body is starting to reject him. I'm not quite sure if that's what it is. I think there might be something more to that, because we've had that sort of scare before, or at least we've been threatened with the presence of that sort of thing happening. But yeah, I don't know. I need to see more before I jump to any conclusions about that. If you'd like to see the next episodes right now, they're over on my Patreon. Episode 41 is available on the Soul tier, and episodes far beyond that are available on the Ascended tier. And of course, the Patreon editions are also extended length, meaning you get more reaction and more discussion to go along with every video, as well as I do my best to respond to basically all the comments I get on them. Let's jump straight into episode 40, shall we? I wonder if there's any significance with the doors breaking apart there.
So you think that General Armstrong had something to do with General Raven's disappearance?
It seems so.
Yeah,
However,
probably.
she's too smart to leave any evidence behind.
Yes, that's true.
Of course we know she did.
The only thing we have to worry about is holding down this fort. As for the general, well, I'm sure the Tigers in Central will make sure she's taken care of.
I don't know, I wouldn't be so sure. She survived in the harsh north. She might be able to take care of herself.
General Armstrong, how nice
This
to
meeting.
see you.
They posted you in Central, Mustang? You're well connected.
No, it's solely based on merit.
That's
She has
rich.
such a wrong impression of him. Maybe, I think so. I think she does.
What brings you here today, General?
Fuhrer Bradley summoned me. For an extended stay, I imagine.
Right.
Is that so? Well, sometime we should grab some dinner.
Your treat? I hope you know I could eat you into bankruptcy.
Maybe we should skip dinner then.
I see. You're short on both money and nerve, huh?
Maybe I could offer some flowers instead.
Huh.
There are many fine florists here in Central.
Are there?
I can't tell if he's trying to tell her something or not. So is she gonna meet up with Bradley then?
Sir!
This is gonna be an interesting meetup. They have such clashing personalities. We've seen she's not the type to bite the bullet.
Now then, General Armstrong. We need to talk about General Raven's recent disappearance. Just what have you done?
I won't be able to hide it all.
Right.
Pardon me, Your Excellency, but I simply don't understand how you can employ someone as careless and incompetent as General Raven.
Is that the reason you saw fit to dispose of him?
Surely you don't need him.
Right,
It
yeah.
can't be good to have someone so talkative on your senior staff.
That's what I've been
You
saying.
have me intrigued, General. What
Raven
did
kinda sucked.
say?
Immortality. The history of this country.
He's just
Your
coming out with it
Excellency's
all.
Identity. He told me all sorts of things without any prompting.
Yeah, he was really, he
After
talked way
learning
too
all
much.
this, you still responded to my summons?
Yes, sir. I assume you'll be needing someone to fill that fool's vacant seat.
Oh, that's actually pretty smart. I guess it depends if he buys it or not.
I like the way you play.
Yeah.
Very well. You can have General Raven's seat. But as I expect you'll understand, my men will take over Fort Briggs. Agreed?
Of course, as you wish. My soldiers are extremely strong and well-trained, sir. I guarantee they will serve you well, Your Excellency.
I think she played this about as
I'm
perfectly
sure
as she
they
could.
will.
I'll be
I
honest.
appreciate the sacrifice, General.
Of course, you know, we know she's totally bluffing.
But still, there's one thing they don't know. Although our leader might be gone, we
They're still loyal.
stand as one.
That too.
We act with one will.
Yep.
That's the Fort Briggs way.
Oh, man.
From here on, the bears will fight the tigers.
Episode 40, Homunculus, the Dwarf in the Flask. I don't even remember which episode in particular we met Olivier, but I don't even think it's been 10 episodes, like maybe like 31 or 32. And in such a short time, yeah, she's not been like totally fleshed out as a character yet, but it's really just goes to show. I just love the dynamic between her and her men. It's so interesting that someone that seems like such a hard ass like she is has such loyal people following them. I guess it kind of just goes back to like kind of in a way how you think of like army units and like their sergeant and whatnot. They probably are so strong because they've gone through so much together. And love her or hate her, she is a very dependable, solid leader. And she's definitely got the mettle to prove it. I mean, she literally just went up against Bradley knowing full well what he is. And with a really good plan, mind you. I really didn't expect her to pull that move, but in retrospect, or just thinking about it more clearly, I think it was probably about the best thing she could have done. I am curious what Bradley was planning to do if she didn't, like, offer herself up to him, though. I mean, maybe he would just dispose of her? I don't know, it's hard to say. Her interaction with Roy was also really interesting because I feel like Roy might have been trying to either gain information from her or convey some sort of message to her. Something about the flowers. I really hope they end up working together because they would be a really killer duo.
Is this spot taken?
No.
She's being really cautious because Pride is always listening.
Fuhrer Bradley works very efficiently, though, so that helps. He isn't a slacker, that's for sure.
Sounds like this is going to be a dull conversation.
She still has the scar on her cheek because of Pride. Yeah, the shadow.
Apparently. Scar is up in the north. The Elric brothers are up there as well.
I see.
My former classmates Lucy and Ian are stationed up there. They like to keep me informed.
Aren't the North and East conducting joint exercises this spring?
Yes, I think you're right about that. I hope Major Miles and Buccaneer don't show us up like they have in the past.
Are they trying to,
Miles.
yeah, convey some sort of code to each other?
And York, Ida, and Sugar all spoke to her too.
Interesting.
Havoc, Oscar, Mike,
They knew about this. They had like
Nora,
planned this way ahead of time. How to communicate in code.
Uni once more. And then Sterling. Bradley as a homunculus.
Wow. All right. Well, Jesus. Okay. Now he knows. Not sure what good that'll do him, but
But then there is no such thing. What in the world is about to happen here in
It's-
Central?
so crazy how the layout of Central is just so blindingly obvious now. I don't really have too much to add to this, but can I just say I absolutely love how in sync and in tune Roy and Riza are with each other just all the time. They didn't even really need to properly coordinate this with each other. They just kind of had the system set up already. It kind of just goes to show that even while they're apart and unable to communicate properly, they're just still so perfect for each other. And like, not even just in like a romantic way, but obviously that's implied and I'm for that. But they're just so cooperative and their personalities just mesh in such the right ways. It's just really a treat to watch. Getting back to father, interesting.
Hey,
Father backstory?
Oh no!
it's all right.
What is this?
Over here.
Yeah?
Hey now. Can't you at least bring yourself to act a little surprised or something?
Is this the dwarf in the
What
flask?
do I get for acting surprised?
Idol?
You show no fear. I like that. What's your name?
I'm number 23.
Not your number. I want you to tell me your real name.
I'm a slave. I don't have one.
A slave?
Okay.
You mean a person without
Weird.
any rights or freedoms? Someone trafficked and deeded as a possession?
This has caught me so off guard. I'm
What's
just,
that?
my mind is
It's
racing.
when a piece of property is transferred to another person.
Huh?
Seems you're not all that bright, are you?
Hey, get out of here!
How could I possibly have been born from someone as stupid as you? You are the one who gave me blood, right?
What?
I guess so. He said he was going to use it for an experiment.
I exist today because you gave me your blood.
What is this thing then? Like,
Let's see. Number 23 isn't going to cut it.
is that Hohenheim, not
Give you a name
father?
of your own.
Give me a name. Who are you?
You'll want a noble-sounding one, right? Let's see. Theo. Theophrastus Bombastus.
That's too long.
Theophrastus Bombastus.
Oh yeah, you're not that smart.
What?
Maybe we shouldn't put too many syllables in it.
Hey, you! I'm plenty smart.
Well, how about Von? Von Hohenheim. How does that sound?
Right,
Von
okay.
Hohenheim, huh? I think I can remember that.
Uh-huh.
It's spelled... Oh, you don't know how to read and write, do you?
I don't need to read and write to do my work.
Your slave work. Don't you even want freedom? Are you going to live out the rest of your life as a slave, without the rights of
Look
a
at this
real man?
panning 3D shot, that's cool.
In that case, you're no different from me, trapped inside this stuffy flask.
Man, I'm having AOT whiplash right now.
Teach you, Von Hohenheim.
Hey. What are you? Who
Yeah,
are you?
that's a very good question.
What do I call you?
I'll tell you what, Von Hohenheim. You can call me the dwarf in the flask, homunculus.
Pause. Okay, so this is definitely something different, something I wasn't expecting. So we had the shot of father fade into the shot of somebody else, somebody in the past, who I was initially assuming was father, just because of how the scene transitioned. But the more I watched, the more I realized that this is probably actually Hohenheim. And we have this weird sort of creature in a flask who Hohenheim gave his blood for because someone experimented on him. They created whatever this thing is, the dwarf in the flask. And the dwarf has strikingly similar features to like the hands and the teeth and the eyes of the portal, as well as pride. So initially I would think that this is some form of pride, but that doesn't really make sense. At least I don't think, because then where is everybody else? Maybe whatever this creature is what father actually is. And then somehow down the line it gains the physical manifestation of Hohenheim? I mean, I guess that would make sense considering it has his blood in him. So I guess this might be like a Hohenheim and father backstory, like 2-in-1 sort of deal. Not what I was expecting, but I'm definitely not complaining.
All things are made from one, and in the end, all things return to one.
In other words,
We've heard that before.
One is all.
Indeed, and all is one as well.
Yep.
All is ultimately of the one. So if all is not included in the one, then all is nothing.
Huh?
You have passed.
Wait, what does that
You are
mean?
now an alchemist, Hohenheim.
I need to hear that again.
Child.
All is ultimately of the one, so if all is not included in the one, then all is nothing. My brain is like fogging up so hard right now trying to think about this. All is ultimately of the one, that part's understandable. So if all is not included in the one, then all is nothing. Okay, so I get what it's saying, but I also don't get what it means. Whenever you hear all is one and one is all, it kind of, in my head at least, it means all and one are sort of equivalencies. They're an intermediary. They sort of exist, they coexist in a way that they're both on the same level. But this sort of implies that all is not on the same level of one. One is like this ultimate deity. It is everything, which is weird because you would think all would be that, but all came from one. But if all is not included in the one, then all doesn't even exist. It's sort of an illusion. Did I get that right? And even then, I don't really know what it is implying. I don't think I'm going to get anywhere thinking about this without a little bit more context to back it up, or without a little time to digest it, so I'm just going to keep going.
I'm still only fit to be an assistant. My skill is nothing near yours, master.
Yeah, he's,
I'm grateful to you.
thinks plotting something.
For what?
I live as well as I do now because of the knowledge you gave me. And I've also earned the master's respect. Thanks to you, maybe someday, I'll even be able to get married and have a family.
Oh,
Family, huh?
that
How
hits.
inconvenient for you humans.
That hits hard.
Unless you form communities and breed, your species can't continue to exist.
Don't call it breeding. And whether or not it's a concept that you're able to understand, that's where humans find happiness. We live for the bonds that we form with friends and family members. That's who we humans are.
Sure.
Well said.
You say.
Okay then, what is it that makes you happy?
Well, I'd hate to be guilty of asking too much.
Just to rule the
but
world.
I think I'd be happy if I could just leave this flask.
And rule the world. And be immortal.
Fullmetal Alchemist.
Slave number 23. And the little one inside the flask. Interesting.
Immortality? Why would someone who already has so much power and prosperity need such a thing?
Watch your tongue! You are in the royal presence. If you continue with this insolence, I will smash your flask!
You wouldn't dare to destroy such an important
That's what he wants,
source of
though.
knowledge.
Keep talking.
That's enough chatter. Immortality. Tell me, is it possible or isn't it?
Growing impatient in your old age? How lamentable, King of Xerxes.
Xerxes.
Okay, I'll tell you how you can achieve immortality.
Uh-oh. This is how it all started, huh? With the sacrifice of Xerxes?
Irrigation canals. The kings ordered them to be dug all throughout the country.
That's the king for you. He even cares about the well-being of us commoners.
Yes, he does.
Wow, you know something I just realized? Everybody that we've seen has blonde hair and gold eyes.
Remember,
just like Edward and
no survivors.
Hohenheim. Yeah, this seems normal. This seems like a reasonable order from the king out of nowhere.
Hurry.
Surely nothing is going wrong here.
Carve out the crests of blood while there's still time.
This is yeah, wow. That was a really easy way to convince the guy, huh? I guess he's just
what an awful tragedy.
That desperate.
Yeah, real tragic.
Really good liar there. The king is just so desperate for immortality that he just sort of sacrifices everybody for himself just like that. And this is how the nation of Xerxes truly fell.
Everything is ready?
Yes, you may now become immortal.
He just sounds so cap. It just sounds like such a liar. I don't think this is gonna go as planned.
The king will achieve immortality.
Yes, this is an amazing moment indeed.
This is what you wanted.
This is immortality. No, you must be wrong.
Who could have ever saw this happening?
You said if we were in the center of the circle, we wouldn't be out.
Oh, okay. So how did Hohenheim make it through this then?
What's going on here? Hey, homunculus!
Is it because they're connected by blood?
The center of the transmutation circle is right here where you're standing.
It is?
Surely you remember that your blood is within me.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Open the doorway. Blood brother of mine, von Hohenheim. Right now, you and I are at the center of everything.
Those guys could have stood just like a little bit closer and maybe have been fine. The circle was a little smaller than it looked. Okay, wow. So this is how Xerxes actually fell. It's horrible, but it's kind of strangely magical. There's so much happening. My mind is just being blown right now. Okay.
Majesty!
I think it's just you now, man.
Master, are you? No, he's dead.
Yeah. Wow.
Out there.
Like a weird apocalypse movie.
Mechthild. Reinmeyer. Tony. Mayo.
These fancy names like Reinmeyer, and then you've got Tony. One Italian and Xerxes.
There must be someone left.
It's no use. All of their souls have been taken from them.
This is father.
Majesty. Are you all right? Tell me. Your body, how is it feeling?
It's me.
Right.
Impossible. Using your blood, I created a receptacle for myself.
This is wild.
Nice. Fine.
Nice.
I can walk on my own two legs. Focus your attention within yourself, Hohenheim. You hear them, don't you? The voices of all the people in this country who were offered in exchange for
That's actually probably very literal.
Well, half of their lives were for me, actually.
Because of envy. Oh, this explains so much. But it also doesn't. Okay. Alright, okay, hold on. Oh boy. Where do I even start with this? So it kind of happened like I thought it would, but it kind of didn't at the same time. Indeed, the homunculus in the flask is actually Father. And Father came to be, at least his actual physical form of Father came to be, as we know it, from the sacrifice of Xerxes. I suppose one question I never really properly asked myself is when Father came to be. Maybe I just had some information wrong in my head, which is very likely the case of this, or maybe it just might have been that I had nothing to really base it off of, but I kind of actually thought Father was around before the sacrifice of Xerxes, because I thought the sacrifice of Xerxes was what made up envy. And it's not wrong, the sacrifice of Xerxes did end up making envy, but I thought it was for making envy. And that's not to say that this didn't happen a long time ago. Hohenheim is actually really quite old, because Xerxes, as we know it, is ruins, and it's ruins in the desert. It takes a long time for things to become ruins when it's in a desert. Usually arid climate preserves things pretty well. This does definitely answer a lot of questions, but one big question kind of just comes to my mind now, and it's a question I've had before, but is even more present now. What does Father, as we know him now, what does he want from sacrificing all of Amestris now? What does he have to gain? Does he just seek to destroy all of humanity, or is there something that we don't exactly know that he still doesn't have? Because to me, it seems he got his wish and he got everything that he wanted from what happened here in Xerxes. This anime did do a really good job initially of framing Hohenheim as like the bad guy because of his resemblance to Father, but over time we were sort of growing to believe that he might not be what he appeared to be, in a way that he's not actually a bad guy, and we see it here. He's really just sort of a victim in all of this. Like, yes, he was complacent in the king gaining immortality. He was, I guess, willing to sacrifice everybody else in Xerxes, which isn't a good look, but in his defense, he was an actual slave. And if I learned anything from Attack on Titan, slaves don't always do what's morally right because they're just sort of broken or manipulated or brainwashed to a point that they don't even really think for themselves. I guess one other really interesting thing to note, and it's something I sort of brought up in a previous episode, but the dwarf in the flask and Father, as we saw him in this episode, he was definitely a lot more like, he had a lot more personality and he was a lot more full of life. I guess that's just to symbolize that his sins or whatever haven't been split off from him yet. I could go one by one and unpack each one of the sins, but that would be way too long of a discussion. Let's finish the episode.
Von Hohenheim?
Oh, hey. Do they know each other? Have they ever met before?
Finally, I get the chance to meet Ed and Al's father.
Okay, no, they haven't.
And I finally get to meet the one who taught my sons. I'm sure they must have been a handful.
Oh no. They were
I don't like how they're walking down a dark alley.
What is it? Izumi, are you all right?
Next to a trash can to dump a body in.
May I have a look at her? I know a bit about the medical field.
Sure.
Maybe they'll have a conversation about
I'm all right.
Portal.
This happens.
No, you are not all right. Mr. Sig, find us a car, quickly. Hurry!
Right. I'm on it.
Miss Izumi, you have seen the truth. What did you sacrifice?
Okay, they are talking about it.
Please be honest with me.
Oh, this worries me.
My insides were taken. I was trying to bring my child back to life.
Cool. That's gotta hurt for a guy that values his family so much.
I see.
I'm sorry.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, it's a fake out. He's healing her. Uh-oh. Don't kill Sig too. Jesus Christ. What just happened?
Calm down, dear, please. I'm all right.
He shoved his hand into you.
It was a fake out.
But my breathing.
Thank God.
Easier.
How can that be?
I didn't believe it.
There's no wound.
That's impossible.
That would be an insane double twist fake
Your
out.
organs were taken away as a testament to your sin, and they cannot be brought back. But I did rearrange your entrails somewhat to improve the flow of blood. Izumi, you cannot give in to your fate just yet.
The bill will come in the mail next week.
You are the boy's father. But who
Actually, are you?
you?
Nobody really knows.
Who am
No,
I?
nobody else actually really
I
knows.
am a philosopher's stone, in the form of a man.
Yeah.
That's
That's
what I am.
kind of, but kind of not. Oh, wow. Wow, what an episode.
The Sorcerer's Stone.
Okay, after
The
credit.
Celestial Stone. The Grand Elixir. The Philosopher's Stone is known by many names. It's not necessarily a stone. The one Dr. Marco had was a semi-liquid form. The one that Kimberly has is similar to a crystal, and it's about this big.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any
Say it has incredible power.
meaning
I would
behind that.
expected it to be a little bigger than that.
It's not. I've never seen one that's much bigger than a small pebble. Besides, to create a Philosopher's Stone that big, you'd have to kill thousands of people. Maybe it's possible, but I would never want to see it.
But he's a person too. He was a physical human being before all of that happened. Oh man. What an absolutely wild, insane episode. This was a really, really good one. It might be counterintuitive, but I actually kind of love flashback episodes. They're typically not where all the action happens, but they're just so story and character rich. They're just so important. That's why I'll never understand why a lot of people like to shit on backgrounds and flashback episodes. Because usually they're just so important to the story. I guess I can get the sentiment if they're not. But wow, that was just unbelievable. I definitely have a lot to think about, especially regarding the quote about what was the, hold on, I have it written down here. All is ultimately of the one, so if all is not included in the one, then all is nothing. I'm gonna like really sit down and think about that on my own time because I don't really know what it implies. I also don't know if there's meaning behind the Philosopher's Stone coming in multiple different forms. I don't know, I just kind of took that as a fact and never considered if there's like any meaning behind it. Maybe it has something to do with that. Either way, what an episode. Every time we get an episode like this that's just so information dense, I always really, really worry if I took everything the right way, if I caught everything, because there's so many little details, especially in a show like this. There's so much almost unspoken truth to the things being said, so hopefully I did a pretty good job absorbing what it wanted me to absorb, and maybe hopefully a little bit past that as well. I'm more excited now than ever to get into it. If you want to check out the next episodes right now, like I said, they're over on my Patreon. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Later.